Hello and welcome to Woven in Time. My name is Lisette, and today we're going to be doing a little reflection, if you will, for the energies of the upcoming full moon in Aquarius. So the full moon is happening on August 9th at 12:55 a.m. Pacific time. And this full moon is really close to the peak of the Lionsgate portal, if you will, which is August 8th, so the day before. And I'm recording on August 7th, and it's 11:02 p.m. my time, Pacific time. And I have been having so many contemplations lately of just like little nuggets that have been coming in, and tonight I took the time to sit down, and there was such a beautiful process of weaving these things that were coming into my awareness together. So I really want to share that with you along your journey to support, in case if anything I have been contemplating speaks to you and your own soul's journey. So for this, we're going to talk about the astrology to start off with, and then we will do some grounding after we receive all of that information, and then we're going to move into an experiential practice. And I feel like it will just be an intuitively guided sound journey. And there might be some breathing involved and visualization, but we'll kind of just flow with it if you're open to that. So if there is anything that you just want to skip to, feel free to use the timestamps down below. And thank you so much for allowing me to share this space with you. So to start off, I really want to just speak on the energies first of the Lionsgate portal. So it's so funny, just to give a little back nugget on my own journey. I remember it was back in maybe like 2021. I was like, I don't understand what the Lionsgate portal is. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm still like exploring the full embodiment of this portal, because I think it holds so much. So I'm just only sharing what I've gathered so far. So essentially, the Lionsgate portal is this astronomical event, if you will, or astrological event. And it is when the Earth, which we are blessed to reside on, and the Sun and Sirius and Orion's belt, so the three brightest stars in the Orion constellation, come into alignment. And in ancient Egyptian times, the Lionsgate portal, if you will, was the heliacal rising of Sirius. So this is the point where Sirius has gone through this journey of we not seeing it within the night sky for like 70-ish days, and now it's coming back to the horizon. So there's this essence of renewal and rebirth. And in ancient Egyptian times, it was when the Nile River would begin to flood again. So just thinking of having a replenishment of crops and being able to soon harvest again. So this is beautifully symbolic when it comes to our journey as a soul. So I love studying esoteric astrology, and within this philosophy, we have these specific trickling down of energies, and we can see these energies trickling down as imagining that there's a very like bright source of light, kind of like our sun, but it's even brighter than that. And in order for us to be able to fully see this light without it being too overwhelming or too blinding to us, it goes through these stepping down tiers. And this essentially is kind of how these energies arrive to us and how we can allow ourselves to integrate them into our physical body within this experience. So at this time, we're really being gifted a window of opportunity to allow for embodying more of our soul's light, and also closing out some of these karmic cycles that maybe we've been stuck, or I don't know if I want to say the word trapped within, but that is coming through, so I will say that. And we can think of this being very symbolic for like 8 and the infinity symbol. And this is a moment where we don't have to keep going on this endless feedback loop anymore if we choose to actually integrate the wisdom that we've been receiving and actually digest it within our system. So now that we can hold it fully embodied, and we're also holding it in a very loving way to where now we understand how to resource that light, which is wisdom, and actually make it more digestible and allow for sharing with others, especially thinking of this full moon in Aquarius, because Aquarius symbolizes this essence of like brotherly love. And it's like, you know, we are coming into the space of remembering that we're in this collective existence and creation, and that we are all truly working together. The aspects of others we see in our lives, but the things that are around us, and even these subtler energies, right? So thinking of this Lionsgate portal and how it is reminding us of this bigger existence, this bigger creation that we're a part of, but allowing ourselves to really ground it in. And the beautiful thing is that, you know, this Lionsgate portal happens every year, and it's in the invitation that we choose to step through that portal that we get to slowly each year continue to build up more of our light body and more of the remembrance of our agency and our autonomy and our right to know that, like, we came here to experience specific things, and we came here to leave specific trails of light so others can be guided on their journey too. And that, like, in us doing those things that our soul feels led to do, that we are serving this bigger picture. So first I want to start off with talking about this essence that's been arising to the surface in regards to the underworld. And when I talk about these concepts, they are they're very abstract and they're metaphors. So I just want to share that so we don't think that they're literal things. Although I guess if you choose to perceive it that way, maybe. But I just want to talk about this essence of the underworld, because we have Pluto retrograding in Aquarius right now, and it is retrograding so it's at 2 degrees of Aquarius right now. And the moon is in Aquarius for this full moon in Aquarius. So lately I've been just like contemplating back to 2023 when we had our Venus retrograde in Leo over the summer of 2023, and just thinking of the recent new moon in Leo that we had And this like resurging, if you felt it, of some of these things that were kind of tapped into in the summer of 2023. And when we're thinking of Leo, which is where the sun is resting right now, so the sun is looking at the moon in Aquarius, there is this essence of allowing the light of our heart, our soul, to be reflected onto our body, to be noted within our habits, and how we're allowing ourselves to choose to move within this essence of creating new pathways, right? So thinking of Aquarius being innovative and allowing for new structures to be built when we attune to the frequency of Saturn ruling Aquarius. And then in an esoteric landscape, Aquarius's esoteric ruler, so for our internal, is ruled by Jupiter. So allowing for this Aquarian essence to also show that not only do we need the structure, but internally there is this awareness of where we're actually growing and expanding into, which in the essence of tying in this thread of Sirius at this time, Sirius represents this essence of love and wisdom, which is very key to our existence. So this second ray, and Aquarius allows us to honor the heart, the love, the compassion that's not necessarily attached to a specific thing, right? So it's just that unconditional love for the sake of just love itself. And to have the structure, to have the clarity of where we're expanding and growing within, then we get to really attune to these higher frequencies of Aquarius, which are ruled by Uranus. And Uranus is the planet that invites in like radical change. It is the essence of liberation and freedom. And it can also be seen as, you know, this higher octave of our soul's wisdom, but also connecting with this essence of the universal mind that is in this space of love and wisdom. So it's this space that doesn't have any distortion because it's very clear. And that energy is so potent, but it requires an understanding of the moon, which in esoteric veils Uranus for Aquarius. So that just means that sometimes if we're trying to connect with Uranus as this higher expression of Aquarius, if our physical body, or just thinking of our emotional and mental body, is not calibrated in a way that can allow our let's say our oversoul or our higher self to bring these energies in, the moon is going to essentially step in the place of Uranus so that we're not harming our physical body. So if we remember when I spoke before of how there's this down stepping of this light so that we can fully witness it and see it without it harming us, that's essentially what this essence is. So I hope all of that made sense, and if it didn't, I'm like, let me know in the comments and I'll try and like explain it a bit more. But I just want to share all of that because depending on where you're at in your journey, you're going to notice that you might be pulled towards these different energies, which are all in alignment with this Aquarius full moon, but it's dependent on where you're at in your soul's evolution, in your journey. And coming back to Pluto and this essence of the underworld, in thinking back towards Venus retrograde and Venus's journey of the underworld, for the first time, I realized I was in a sacred space, if you will, and I realized that, Sirius, the fixed star, also has this underworld journey that it goes through, and it's roughly around 70 days, and Venus is generally 40 days where it's in this process of the underworld. And it was just really interesting, as for the first time I was like, oh, I feel like we can see Sirius as a higher octave of Venus. And when we're thinking of this, I just really want to speak on this, because the more that we allow ourselves to work with this full moon in Aquarius, the more that opportunities and new pathways and doors will open up for us in these coming months. And specifically thinking next year, when we'll begin to depending on what wave you're on of this experience, we'll begin to solidify more into these new archetypes. And not that they're new, but it's just it's higher octaves that we're allowing ourselves to pull down. So it's this light that's already there, but we are now actually allowing ourselves to expand to witness it, so then we can now reflect it through the mirror of our existence. I really hope this is making sense. But yes, so with this essence of that underworld, it's just really supportive at the time of this full moon in Aquarius. And I'm going to look at the chart here just so I can stay on tune, that we're noting there is quite a few planets retrograde, right? So we already talked about Pluto, which is retrograde, and then we have Saturn and Neptune retrograde at 1 degree in Aries, and then we have Uranus at 1 degree in Gemini, which is in its pre-shadow period, and it's going to station retrograde September 5th, I believe. And then we also have Mercury still retrograde, and it's at 4 degrees of Leo. And Mercury is also in the same sign as the sun that is speaking to this full moon. So we have all of these energies that are within air and fire that are deeply speaking to each other right now. And if you reflect back to the beginning of this year, so when we had the new moon in Aquarius, it was the end of January, and we were beginning to step into the retrograde season where we had Mercury and Venus doing their dance within Pisces and Aries, so where they had their retrograde. And now we're experiencing this with Neptune and Saturn, and we're being invited through this full moon to really notice that as we have these retrogrades taking place, we're being asked to deeply reflect at this time, while the light is really illuminating ways that our desires may have been within this selfish space of lack, right? Of greed. Because when we think of attuning to the energies of abundance, or just allowing for change or new things in our lives, sometimes we can, in this experience of moving through some of these challenges and frictions, there can be these aspects of ourselves that we're just so deeply desiring this thing, but we're kind of forgetting the heart, the reason. And the heart and the reason is that Aquarius energy, is to be the essence of that light that is pouring in to this collective shining of our consciousness. So in this time, and allowing that reflecting, there's this witnessing of all these things that have still been carried, that now, since there's been this processing within these fragments of the underworld, and I always see this as like it's a specific season in our lives when maybe there's a lot that has been going on, and we're kind of tender. We're very tender. We can be very vulnerable because there's these stripping away of aspects of our identity that maybe weren't even ours to begin with, or maybe that we were holding on to out of survival. And within this period of time, we're invited to see, like, in what ways are we actually allowing ourselves to trust in this divine orchestration and this bigger picture plan, and to know that yes, we do have free will, we have choice, but there's this gentle undercurrent that exists within our experience, and that is the light of our soul, our higher selves, our oversoul, that endlessly pours down into us. And I don't mean literally, and that is the remembrance of knowing that, like, there is this guidance, we are always being led. And right now it's so important to really deeply tune in to honor this refining period. And we're going to be in this refining period for essentially kind of until December in a more personal level, and then collectively it really depends on like where you're at when it comes to these higher octaves of planetary energies. So during this time, allowing for the support of these energies, even if they are causing challenge, or even if emotions are running really high, of remembering, like, what is the wisdom that's trying to be harvested within this moment, and where is the invitation to open our hearts up more, even more than we thought possible, because that will invite in deeper peace, that will invite in ease. And this is a space where it's like we can't just use our mind logically, because when we're in tune with these higher frequencies or these higher octaves, the mind is just a channel for that to flow through, but that expression is from the heart. It is from the core essence of your light, and it's working in a partnership with your mind. So just at the time of this full moon, tuning into, we have Mars in Libra at 1 degrees, and then we have Saturn and Neptune over in Aries at 1 degrees, and there's this opposition being created, and this opposition is creating some tension, just like the full moon is creating a little bit of tension as well, and showing that like within these areas what isn't working anymore. So allowing for not to just keep taking action for the sake of taking action to have movement, because that movement can actually cause more disharmony, and it's asking for a little bit more. I feel like this has definitely been a thing of the whole inspired action, because that is an attunement with the soul, but there's this invitation to commune with knowing that right now, if something has to be deeply forced, then that requires reassessing. And knowing that in these reassessings, in this refinement period, if there are things that do require pivoting, the pivot is not failure. The pivot is inviting for alignment and allowing you to move into this space of celebrating what it means to listen more deeply to this like whisper of your heart and soul, and to know that the more you continue to listen, the more you allow for, as we move into eclipse season and we just move through just these natural cycles within our life, that each pillar of light at each lunar phase that you are anchoring in for yourself is building this deep foundation that's allowing you to continue to strengthen your relationship with yourself. And in allowing yourself to deepen that relationship, you allow yourself to deepen relationship with others. So in allowing yourself to love yourself without conditions, then you get to love another without conditions as well. So I hope that made sense. And of course, as always, only take what resonates. And the last astrology part that I want to talk about is this essence of, as we're at the time of this full moon Aquarius, we're preparing to have Mercury station direct on August 11th. And since Mercury is in this like loose opposition with Pluto, there's this invitation again within our belief systems, those stories, especially just thinking of the inner child and that innocence, and also within the realms of creativity for ourselves, any of those areas that have been asking for attention, this is a really beautiful time to give that, because as Mercury prepares to station direct, and once it moves forward, we'll be reviewing all that we move through during the retrograde, and these lessons get to integrate more deeply within our body. And in allowing that to take place, and in the awareness of whatever comes up during this Aquarius full moon, we can actually work really beautifully with a aspect that's taking place on August 12th. I want to double check that, but I'm pretty sure it's August 12th. Yes, where we're going to have Jupiter conjunct Venus and conjunct Sirius. So we're already having this portal on the Lion's Gate where there's alignment with Sirius, and then we're getting an even more deeply intimate alignment where we have Venus, who represents our values, and then the essence of beauty, of art, of love, of fairness, and Jupiter, this essence of higher learning or wisdom, that the archetype of the teacher. And then this essence of Sirius, which is that second ray of love and wisdom. And we're having all of these energies come together. And within this conjoining of forces, if you will, or conjoining of mentorship, we're like getting this personalized invitation to connect our relationship with the energies that deeply speak to us in a more intimate way, so that we can share and teach and guide, but also to restructure our values, what we find beautiful, what we love. And I think it's kind of funny because like recently I've been saying, because I had someone tell me like, they're like, oh, well, you see me with eyes of love. And I'm like, well, yes, because I love you. And that is the essence that we're being invited to. Like, what does it mean to see with eyes of love, to listen with ears of love, to feel with the essence of love, and to allow all of these fragments that can sometimes cause fear or anxiety or doubt or guilt or shame to be purified within this underworld space. And since we're going to be moving in to the autumn season soon, that even gives a further invitation of, well, we're moving through this purification process, and all these things that you're aware of that maybe there's kind of getting stuck in these areas. Well, then we get to move into this season where that can be let go of even more. So it's just like untying these little knots, these tangles, and releasing within these areas that can sometimes leave us disconnected with what it means to commune with our fellow humanity, but also our fellow like kingdoms, right? So the mineral kingdom, the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom, the celestial kingdom, the angelic kingdom, and probably all the other ones that I don't even know exist. So I really do hope that that was supportive, and hopefully it is digestible. I'm like, if it was, let me know down below so I can continue to refine how I'm sharing information. Indeed. So that's all I'm going to talk about for the Aquarius full moon. And we're going to go ahead now and move in to our guided journey. And I do feel like this will be fairly sweet, short, simple, to the point. So I'll invite you to get comfy within your space. I always recommend participating with headphones on if you so feel, what are the words? If you feel called to do so. And then just knowing that within this space, you can always take pauses and come back to it at another time, and really just allowing yourself to be your own best guide as you receive. So if you feel ready, finding a comfortable seat or lying down. And then if it feels good to you and your body, allowing your eyes to close. And then just tuning in to your field. And maybe allowing all the information that you received to just settle into your auric field. knowing that there is no rush to fully understand this information, as it'll slowly unfold and blossom and bloom like a rose in divine timing. And then we'll go ahead and take 3 grounding breaths together. So for these breaths, I'll invite you to imagine that you're connecting with our central sun. And the sun is just pouring its light into the crown of your head. And as you breathe in, you'll allow that light to move through your body, down your spine, all the way to the base. And then as you exhale, allowing that light to move down your legs to the soles of your feet or through your sit bones into Mother Earth. And then breathing in again. And exhale. And then one more time, breathing in. And exhale. And allowing your breath to return to a natural rhythm. And then beginning to imagine that you're connecting with the light of Sirius. And if you've never connected with Sirius before, just asking to connect with the highest vibrational resonance of Sirius that's attuned to the second ray of love and wisdom. And imagining that that light from Sirius is going to our central sun and then pouring into the crown of your head. And then as you breathe in, you allow it to flow its light down your spine, all the way to the base, to your root energy center, and then allowing it to move down to your Earth Star energy center. That's just a couple feet below the soles of your feet. And we're just going to set the intention that these energies flow in a way that your system can receive them for your highest and greatest good. And if at any moment you feel a lot of energy moving through your system and it becomes too much, you can just ask if that light can be turned down and reattuned to your present system. just remembering to take nice, big, deep, grounding breaths. And then in this moment, asking to connect with your I am presence. And noticing if you feel any shifts or changes within your body. And then we're going to call on Saint Germain to encircle us with the essence of a violet flame and a sacred circle. And within this space, we're just going to ask that if there's anything present that does not resonate with the frequency of love, light, truth, and wisdom for the highest and greatest good of all, if those energies can please leave this space now. Please leave this space now. Please leave this space now. And then I'll invite you to tune in to a color that allows you to feel within the fullness of your essence. And maybe that is a combination of multiple colors, or maybe it's a symbol, a shape. And just allowing this color or this symbol, the shape, to be fully defined within your mind. And then imagining that you're either placing that color, that symbol or shape within the center of your chest, within your heart space. And then allowing this essence to expand until it covers your entire body. And this essence will be a symbol or shape or color that you can connect with any time outside of this space. For any time that you want to attune deeply with the frequency of your soul. And then just allowing this essence to fully integrate into your energetic body. And then beginning to place your hand either on your heart or on your belly or just somewhere on your body, wherever you intuitively feel called to place your hand. And just asking in this moment, is there any information that your body would like to share with you as you move through this present season of your life? And then tuning in and asking your heart, is there anything that your heart would like to share with you? If it didn't share something specific already, and just allowing yourself to notice what arises. And then if your hands are still on your body and you'd like to let them rest, you can. And then I'll invite you to tune into what is it that you have been feeling called to move towards within your life. After that wisdom received from your body and your heart, what is it that you know deep within that you feel your soul pushing you towards or gently guiding you towards? And within this moment, if you could imagine that you could shift this essence or these energies within your life to find more flow, more ease, and a deeper integration of your soul's light, what would that feel like? What would that look like? How would you express yourself? How would you feel within your body, your mind? And as we flow through this sound journey, allow yourself to be curious if you feel called, or maybe invite in support for letting go of some of these things that haven't been serving you anymore. Or maybe allow yourself to attune to these new energies that are calling you at a soul level. And in this space, give yourself permission to attune to them more deeply so that you can move forward with ease. And just allowing this space to be whatever it is that you're deeply desiring support with or seeking clarity in. Or just allowing it to be a space that can hold you in this present moment. And just knowing that you don't have to force or try to fix anything, that you can allow these solutions, these new pathways to gracefully unfold and blossom within your awareness. Just remembering to allow your breath to be with ease, gentle, without force, as you receive. wherever you're at, within your internal journey, just beginning to gently bring your awareness back towards your breath if you happen to go away from it. And just noticing this space that you cultivated for yourself. Remembering that within the upcoming days, weeks, and months, even years, you can always come back to this space anytime you desire. And then we'll just allow those energies from Sirius to fade away, to know that you can always call on them again, and to just show gratitude for the attunement that you received. And then showing gratitude for the connection to our central sun, knowing that you can always call on that energy anytime you desire as well. And just saying thank you as you turn off that stream of light coming through the crown of your head. And we're just going to take 3 grounding breaths before we fully come back into the shared space. So just allowing all the air to empty out of the lungs. And then gently breathing in through the nose. And then as you exhale, sending that breath down to the soles of the feet. And just imagining that anything that's ready to be let go of, to be composted, that it goes into the soil, the dirt beneath you. And then breathing in again. And exhale. And last breath together in. And exhale. And then allowing the breath to return to a natural rhythm. And then reconnecting with that color, shape, or symbol that you picked for yourself. And remembering that you can call on this essence anytime you desire a deeper connection with your soul's essence. So you can work with this essence in meditation or in times of just desiring clarity or peace, whatever it is. And for now, we'll just clear or move that symbol, unless if you'd like to keep it with you in your auric field. And then beginning to invite some gentle movement back into the body as it resonates. So maybe you invite in a yawn, or you roll out the fingers or the wrist, wiggle the fingers, can wiggle the toes, roll out the ankles. You can rock the head from side to side, or do some gentle neck rolls, and just allowing yourself to tune into what would feel most nourishing in this moment. And then if you do feel called to do any journaling, I do recommend that, especially if you received anything that is really at the forefront of this experience for you. And then just allowing for awareness as you move through this energetic portal of the Lion's Gate, the Aquarius full moon, and of this conjunction between Venus, Jupiter, and Sirius, of what arises. What do you feel called to shift, to pivot? And how do you want to open up to abundance in all its forms within your life? And how do you even want to connect more deeply with our collective energies as well? So I do hope that this experience was supportive, and if you are ever desiring a space that's one-on-one to support you along your journey, I do have a new offering that's called Cosmic Integration, and this is essentially a session package where the first session is a astrological transits reading. So it's just looking at the transiting planets and your chart for the upcoming season. So we'll be focusing on the autumn season this go round, if you will, at the time I'm recording this. And then after that initial session, you'll get a summary of key themes for the upcoming season and key dates as well, and some invitations for different practices that you can work with. And then there's 3 sessions that are just healing and integration that will be included. They're 60 minutes each, and it's recommended to just do once a month for a little energetic attunement as you move through the season, or if you have something that you're moving through that would call for closer back-to-back sessions, then that can be done as well. So if you want to learn more about that, that information will be down below in the description. And if you want to join this space, join me and all the other beautiful souls here, feel free to do so by subscribing. And if the video did resonate and you feel like it would be supportive to someone else, please feel free to share, to like, to comment. And yeah, I'm wishing you a very abundant and nourishing full moon in Aquarius. May this Lion's Gate portal treat you well, and may you open up to more of the beautiful gifts and nuggets that your soul is trying to inform you of, so that you can just remember more of your essence, of the abundance that's already waiting to meet you within this next season ahead. So thank you so much again, and take care until next time. Bye.